Welcome everybody to a kind of sit rep of Call to Arms Ostfront with the new Airborne DLC and kind of where the game is right now and where myself and Sir Jellybean, who is so nice to be joining us today, think it could kind of get better. So, I hope that you can find some sort of meaning out of all this, or it's just an excuse for two, privileged gamers to rant on the internet about a topic that has no effect on the actual world.
You know what really grinds my gears? You, America.
Jellybean, would you like to would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Sir Jellybean. Obviously, if you know the channel, I do a lot of Gates Hell stuff. Obviously, gamed with Erica for quite a few months now. We've got hundreds of videos in Gates Hell. Obviously, I've got over 1,300 hours in the game, so I think I can give a fair opinion.
Wow.
I think at one point it's basically the only game I do play other games, but mainly I play Gates Hell because I just enjoy it. But like now I play other things, but yeah, at one point Gates Hell was literally all I played when I was bored. It's like, oh, Gates Hell, Gates Hell, Gates Hell.
I honestly think that's where a lot of us are. I mean, it's that game where it scratches whatever kind of itch you want.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like it. Before people say, oh, Men of War, so new Men of War 2. It's just not. Not there.
Y'all wait till y'all see my review of that game. It's not okay. And I honestly was going in being nice and trying to be like, okay, well, let's give him a chance. So, yeah. If you're joining us, hope you're either probably a new player, you're a concurrent player, or you're probably someone thinking of picking up the DLC, getting back into it, or I don't know why else you would watch this. So, but we just want to talk about the game's been out for a while. This new DLC was really hyped up, and it's been out. What do we think? Where is the direction of the game going? How, is the community handling it? And as people that both Jelly and I play a lot, and we do content stuff, where do we think that, better energy is probably spent? Or, So, why do we need it? I don't know. Why do we need cat videos? Because it makes us feel good. Does this make me feel good? Not really, but...
Yeah. To be fair, it's also valid feedback for the developers. They might not watch, but I don't think they watch my channel so much, but I know they watch some of the other obviously Gates Hell channels, because there's some bigger ones, and there's, I won't throw any names in there, but, it's kind of, everyone knows the community. There's, certain people play multiplayer more. Obviously, I do a lot of Conquest. Some people do, they make videos with it, so... I think they watch my stuff if they think, oh, what do you think of Conquest? But I think they know my thoughts on that, but... Yeah, I think we give valuable feedback, which is fair, and it's constructive criticism, all of it. None of it's like, oh, let's take a stab. It's all, look, this is what you can do to make the game better. We're saying that because I think they've sold 550,000 copies of the base game.
Oh, yeah.
Gates Hell. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of game, but I'd love them to sell 2 million and make more stuff. I'd love them to be very rich and successful and say, actually, we're so rich and successful, we can keep the game going for 5 years, 10 years, or however long the game goes until it kills. Dies off, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of that thing that is tough in the games industry of I mean, I've modded games before, so I've never been a developer, but obviously this is a job for them, but there's passion here somewhere, obviously.
Sure, yeah.
And it's okay, well, is their passion and love lining up with the expectations of the community? And how do these developers define the success of their DLC or their game? Is it they sold a lot of copies, or they're making money, or is it that they had more newer players or more returning players, or you know what I mean? Only they can answer that, but just like you said, they do seem to be paying attention. I went through some of the discussions on the Steam page.
Some things. I'd say they pay attention to some things, which is fair. I understand they can't keep us all happy, but as a guy who obviously, I think the game is... The game excels at Conquest. I would say that is where most of the player base is. I'd say 85 to 90% care about Conquest most. Obviously, they have to do multiplayer as well and single player, but I would say focus on the strengths of the game, which to me is Dynamic Conquest, or the Dynamic Campaign as it's called. We call it Conquest, but Dynamic Campaign.
Yeah, Conquest is where I keep going. I'm not really a PvP person.
It's just to any new players. The missions are okay, but obviously
they're well produced. I'll give them that.
Well produced, but certain basics of the game that he struggles with, for instance, pathfinding and certain triggers in the thing, make it difficult for the missions to be as good as good. But they are well made, like the map's good and stuff. But yeah, Conquest is the best because it's basically you making your own adventure. Do you want to go mass armor? Do you want to go mass infantry? Do you want to, you can even, if I actually attempted it, tried to do single man army, couldn't do it, not on hardcore. But potentially you could literally deploy one man to the battle on easy and take out an entire couple objectives and win the mission. It'd be very difficult, but you could do it.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you. You can literally just deploy it. I remember seeing a channel where he just deployed a tank.
Yeah.
And I think he got like 6 or 7 missions in. Like he just deployed the Panzer and just went round and just see if he could do it. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and then also in the campaign, your units gain experience. Like each individual soldier feels like an RPG character.
If you get a conscript squad and keep it alive for 20 battles in the dynamic conquest, it will basically be for instance, the USSR, it will be a guard squad by the end, and you can also pick up weapons. Yeah, it's very
weapons. You can like
a mini RPG.
Steal vehicles, and then the other part is the modding community is fantastic. Because the kind of what I'm going to get at in a second is some of the issues you were just starting to point out of like the scripting and pathfinding. It's not that great, I think, because it has an editor and a game system that's so open source that it's kind of that sacrifice of being able to have everything like open and accessible for modders to tinker with.
Yes.
But there are always improvements. So so what do we think, like, Airborne DLC, brand new DLC, 101st Airborne coming in, super hyped. I was super hyped to get it. And it seemed like the devs were really hyped to do it and release. Like, there was a lot of, like, passion and editing I saw put in there.
It's basically the Band of Brothers story as well, so that gave a lot of people throwbacks. Like, I can remember the series, like, watching that. So obviously, if you like Band of Brothers, it gives you that kind of fuzzy feeling.
Well, yeah, and it goes back to what you and I were both saying of you're like playing your story in World War II that's not an FPS, that's not a like on rails shooter, so it kind of fills a niche that isn't in the gaming space right now. Were you excited for the Airborne DLC? How were you feeling like before it came out?
I was quite mixed. Obviously, Liberation was fantastic. The DLC before it blew everyone's socks off, and then obviously I've been through every DLC with the game. The finished one was kind of okay. The Scorched Earth one I actually quite liked, so I thought it had good units and stuff. But I was like hit and miss, and I was like hit and miss, and it's okay. It's got some good and bad. Like to me, like I said, I was more excited for the next faction that comes in the big DLC, because the thing is, Liberation was so good. It was like, oh wait, until the next DLC like Liberation comes out, it's gonna feel less.
They kind of showed the capability that they have as developers.
Yes. And before people say, oh, it was a cheap DLC, yeah, but Liberation not only had a new faction, loads of new maps on a different front, pretty good missions. I haven't played all Liberation missions because I'm not too big on missions, but they are fun. But also it added a different balance. Bear in mind, they brought the US in, which, let's be honest, the US didn't fully get into the war till a bit later. But they were able to balance that well. Like it wasn't like, oh, in the tech tree the US starts off ridiculously bad. Like there was nice balance, and apart from 50 calibers, but that's different. They just rip. But
and they have been able to like also add and improve current like armies or Germans, change models and skins and add
they
stuff.
added a lot of stuff for the Germans as well, which the Liberation basically showed what they can do with the DLC, which I'm not, like I say, this DLC is fine, but I think it's because this is basically a glorified mission pack, let's be honest. It doesn't add too much. The maps are, I'll put that into big bonus things, but the Liberation DLC is so good. It's like this one really kind of, obviously I know they needed the assets from Liberation to do this, but this one would have been better coming before, because Liberation's so good. It's like, well, we're all waiting for the Commonwealth DLC, which we know is coming.
I totally thought the British were gonna be in the Airborne DLC. This is kind of on me because I skimmed a lot of the news. Like, I thought the Airborne DLC, I knew it was a campaign, but I thought that they were going to add, like, a lot more units to, like, Conquest, kind of like how Steel Division 2 adds, like, a new army every kind of update and, like, sticks to the theme. But when it came out...
I expected more units, for sure.
Did it meet your expectations? Did it disappoint you? Was it better than you
Yeah,
thought?
like I say, I wasn't super pumped for it because I kind of knew it would be a mission pack.
Mhm.
I wish there would have been more stuff added, but to be fair, they added like the flat railing for the Germans, which is cool.
Mhm.
They added some, they added some new skins and stuff, and obviously they made the good character models.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hit the mark, but like I say, I wasn't.
The maps, like the maps
Yeah,
they
the map's
made.
fantastic.
Like
Amazing.
there is such a everyone. If there is
Carentan is amazing.
There's a
like,
mod
that map is
that
amazing.
if you get this game and only get the Airborne DLC or the Liberation or whatever to get the US, there's a mod that's it allows the Airborne DLC maps in Conquest. Download that. That's
not to
amazing.
leak into our pros and cons.
Yeah,
that shouldn't have to be done through a mod. That should have already been in. That was
Yes.
that was one of my kind of. This is another thing as well. Those maps should have already been in Conquest. Like the fact that you have to get a mod for. I know it's only a minor thing, but this would go to another thing. But yeah, the mod hit. The mod, like I expected, like a decent DLC. It's a decent DLC. It's
especially
it's
for
a
what,
fair
$8?
price. Yeah, it's a fair price. It's. I've done some of the missions. I enjoyed them. There's some issues, like say, I'll go through that when we go through pros and cons. But yeah, the map, it's beautiful. Like it looks beautiful. It's pretty fun actually. I'm not so big on the missions because I think the base game makes it difficult to do missions well with how they are. Like you say, it's not the developers in this case going, oh no, because of the constraints of the base of the game, missions are difficult to actually get a nice flow. But I enjoyed the historical accuracy of it. I enjoyed the information it provides, and I think. Like you say, no one can say it's a bad DLC, but I don't like you say. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's decent. It's good. It hits the spot, and I think you get your money's worth. I can't fault them on that.
I was super excited to play it. After it came out, I immediately loaded up Conquest, and I was like, nothing's changed. I was very confused. I went back, read the news, and I was like, oh, I totally misunderstood, and like started. I played through the campaign, or the mission set and whatever, and I'm kind of with you where, like, I've played Company of Heroes 1 and 2. Like, I've played the single-player missions, and, like, while the Band of Brothers scene, and it's amazing to see this in this game, they didn't do anything different that isn't in any other World War II RTS, like, squad-based, like, RTS like this. So, it was like... I felt like I was more watching a story than creating my own story, which is kind of, I think, what a lot of us really do enjoy with this. But
yeah, 100%.
Let's get into the state of the game right now. So let's come up with 3 things we like about the game as a whole that we think are great.
What, DLC or the entire game?
The entire game.
Oh, the entire game as a whole. Oh, this is easy. Well, the historical accuracy is pretty bang on. Before anyone says, "Oh, it's not," the armor is like, for instance, the weapons feel right. I know, obviously, people say Rangers, but it does actually kind of fit quite well.
And also, again, the caveat of it is so easy to go in and change any of these values to like.
Oh yeah, but
and you don't.
If you change the Rangers, you screw the game as well.
Yeah,
like, this is a pro thing. Like. The Rangers fit the size of the maps. Unless you make 10k maps, you don't want a Tiger that can shoot 2 kilometers.
Yeah, and this is kind of where I'm going to get into a little bit later of the a lot of the complaints I see a lot of people saying deal more with what they want their experience to be and not the game. But anyway, yeah, no. I
can do three likes about.
Yeah,
I can do 3 likes about the actual DLC though.
Sure,
these are easy. The maps are superb.
Okay.
No one can. Anyone who says the maps are bad. That's bullcrap. And I am the most picky person for maps.
You really are.
I hate most of the maps. Yeah, maps are fantastic. The people said they didn't like the voice acting.
Really?
I thought the voice acting was good, and I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was good, and I'm like I say, I've got quite an ear for accents. You know, I've travelled. I thought the voice acting was good. I thought the cinematics were good. Like even though I didn't like the pacing of them, which is one of the dislikes, I did enjoy the actual cinematics were well built and stuff. I also enjoyed the price point, which may seem silly, but I think I was like, oh, if they come out and ask for the same, I think the price was very fair. And to be fair, if anything, I thought they undercut themselves, but I was expecting it to be a little bit higher and like go, be a bit cheeky because the game's quite well established. Let's be honest, if they release anything Ostfront DLC, if you're an Ostfront player, you're gonna buy it anyway because you it's one of those niche games, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like people who play RimWorld. They buy the DLC because even though it's popular, certain people play that game and they freaking love it. Like people who play Ostfront play it a lot.
It's the horse armor of the Oblivion horse armor of Ostfront. Yeah, I agree, and I think like those are a lot of really valid points for the DLC. I would say probably my big 3 likes for the DLC is, again, I'm gonna agree with maps. The way you could tell they were designed not for multiplayer, because there's like that map design where you could tell, oh, this is designed for like a PvP, or like there's everybody starts on either side and then you have like, you know what I mean? Whereas it felt like this was it was a real town in France, or real areas.
Yeah.
But it felt like they actually, instead of just took creative licensure to make it, to gamify it, they stuck with it, and it changed how I approached tactics, and which
100%.
My actual military experience with tactics helped. Instead of where in Conquest, it doesn't always help in the skirmish, but my second like, I would say, is the framework they laid down, because I feel like this DLC was more of we're laying down a framework to prepare for the next like faction DLC. They are setting the standard for the maps and bringing in all these brand new assets. They are updating or adding new events and triggers. They are they're building the foundation, and then they were like, all right, yeah, here's some maps on it. But and I've even in the modding community, a lot of people have been looking at the things they could do now and the improvements that are beneficial to us. And then I would say probably the third one is you can feel the developer's passion, which
100%.
Whether you disagree with their decisions or not, or whether you like them or not, whatever, it's so good to have somebody passionate about what they're creating, because that means that they're not just going to take your money and run, or just just say deuces, and they could have 3 DLCs ago, but because they're passionate, they're invested, and that passion bleeds into our experiences where you could feel it. And I think we should reward them and point that out, that we notice and feel the passion. We like it. We just going into our dislikes, wish it was redirected elsewhere. So what do we got for dislikes?
Mine's a weird one, but I think balance of the thing is weird. So because I play things on hardcore, which actually people don't understand the difficulty. Hardcore literally makes it the most balanced for the AI in damage terms. You actually still have slightly more troops for your health. That's how it works in Conquest, saving the missions.
Yep.
Because you're fighting Folshamega, for instance, in Karatan, they literally take half a mag of Thompson to the face. And because obviously how they have to balance towards the game AI, when you're attacking Karatan with your 40, 50 men, the AI outnumbers you with extremely heavily HP troops like your own. But obviously we all know from the actual battle, when the Easy Company attacked Karatan originally, they outnumbered because it was understrength Folshamega Company. So it's the balance didn't actually, the only thing I wish they'd done is they'd make the missions where the weapons are more lethal and it was more about the tactics, because they're trying to balance it for the AI, but at the same time, being Cromwell played through the Karatan mission a bit, I was there dropping M1 Garand rounds to the face of some of the AI. They're taking 3 or 4 shots point blank, and obviously they snap fire. So the balance needed to be addressed, I'd say. I just think, this is my thing, even though DLC's all right, I would rather them have just said, no DLC this time for a bit. We're just going to put all the effort into making the Commonwealth DLC, because obviously the last DLC was last year. Obviously, I know there's been some big updates, like you said. But to me, after Liberation, these big DLCs I'd rather have big DLCs like Liberation once a year than have 2 or 3 DLCs. I'd rather just have. And last one was, like you say, having to use a mod to put the maps into Conquest. These are little things that I just wish they'd think, actually, Conquest is where the game excels, or PvP or whatever. These maps that are probably the best maps they've ever done, actually. They're amazing. Oh, you have to use it. I know it's only someone's done it, but the modders shouldn't have to do that. And also, I'm not a modder, so imagine that modder just went, I'm not doing that, I've got crap to do. I can't then ever play those maps in Conquest. So anyway, thanks for the modder as well, because he puts his free time in to do something they should have done. But minor things, really. I'd say the pros outweigh the cons, I'd say.
Yeah, and for, I guess, like, my dislikes, I would generally say the first one is a weird dislike. The lack of understanding and empathy on the side of the developers and the community. That's one of them, because this DLC was very divisive for a lot of people, apparently, and it detracts from it. Like, you know, I saw a discussion posted a week ago where this guy was going on a rant about how the devs are shadow banning people that say negative things. They're kicking people from Discord. They're
really
this is the post, and then 2 devs responded to this post saying, like, addressing everything, and we're professional, but they were like, we've never banned anybody, and if we did, you should contact us and let us know.
Yeah, to be fair, I've actually slagged on the game quite badly, in videos. The developers have never stopped me. That I'm actually able to post on Discord as a content creator. Like, I've been fair sometimes, but I have been pretty harsh as well. Like, people know my issues with Pathfinder, and I regularly bring up, for God's sake, Bob! I always scream, Bob Studios, damn it! But like, they've never actually. They probably should have banned me. But they never. To be fair, they probably don't like me, which is fair, because I can be a kind of pain in the ass by it. But they've never been bad at, they've never said, oh, you can't come on the Discord. If anything, I've probably ragged on the game more than anyone. They're like, oh, you can be a content creator on the Discord. So, I agree with you. I don't think they'd shadow ban. If anything, the only people would get banned, I imagine, if they started literally swearing in the Discord or kicking off, because the Discord for Gates Hell is actually pretty chill.
Yeah, and there was
nice.
There were a couple other posts I saw where, like, people were saying how awful the DLC was because of one of the issues was, like, for the Waffen SS, they did dash and didn't have the SS, and they're didn't
common
have
sense, because
they didn't have actually
Germany
I was about to say
ban the game.
There are countries that will ban the game, and also if your issue is it's kind of, we were discussing it earlier of, you know, if you're unhappy about something and want to find an issue, you're gonna find it. But in this grand scheme 100%. Of things, it's such a minuscule thing of like, oh, it's not realistic enough, or it's not accurate enough. It's a video game.
I agree with him with the not putting the Waffen SS in. Well, there's a mod to do it anyway, but that's not because I'm sure they'd love to put all the. I'd love to have historical accurate symbols for everything, including the ones we can't have, because I mean history videos and I have to be careful.
Yeah.
But the reason is certain countries like Germany, or Israel as well as another one, I think Australia, if you put those symbols in, they just don't let you sell the game. And it might not be a lot of sales, but let's say there's 10,000, 20,000 players in Germany out of a game that sold 550,000. That's a lot of money. And also, not just that, it's even in countries where it's not banned, like Britain, they could all of a sudden say, oh, well, you put the SS symbol, that's hate speech, you get flagged. It can cause other issues. So actually, that's just the developer saying, we actually want people to be able to buy the game. And they've not got rid of any historical accuracy. The SS units in there, I believe, aren't they just called Waffen? I'm pretty sure they're still called Waffen units. So everyone knows, just because they ain't got the SS, they're still the Waffen.
The last kind of dislike of the Airborne DLC and kind of the Ostfront state of the game right now is that it feels like there is it feels like the devs have a direction and a goal that they want to continue on. But it also feels like the community generally has a different expectation of the path and the goal. And
very different.
Yeah. And you've said it a lot that we shouldn't have to rely on mods.
No.
However, I like to I come from a modding background. Mods keep games alive even when devs
100%.
don't. But I dislike how the devs seem to be more reserved with their plans and their paths moving forward. I could be wrong, but I feel like the devs should have like a monthly or quarterly ask us anything stream or community engagement.
I think you're right. Like, I don't get why they're so secretive about stuff either. Like, they don't we know the next one's gonna be the Commonwealth, or we're 99% sure, right?
Yeah.
And they won't. I know they don't want to reveal stuff further, but the thing is, do what kind of Rimworld does. Rimworld builds the good base game, and lets mods do all the hard work. If they said to us look, guys, we want to do some missions, but missions aren't so popular. Conquest is where it's at in PvP. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna focus on making really cool new factions, getting the balance right, and giving you loads of maps, and then we'll let modders fill all the rest. And everyone will probably be like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the fact that, and obviously I know the DLC, the Airborne, they wanted to obviously tell the Band of Brothers story. That's cool. But that seems like more of a personal preference. Oh, we want to tell this story. Yeah, but as the community said, I think more, and I would say more American players also obviously love Band of Brothers because it has more of a national connection, which makes sense. But I think, say, if I don't know if they did polls or anything, but if they did a poll, I would say 75 to 85, maybe 90% would say focus on Conquest, focus on fixing those other issues. That would be. But, I do admire the devs have a plan, but like you say, probably being more open to doing not necessarily what the gamers want, but taking their ideas on.
To wrap this kind of up, because we both kind of went a little crazy, but I think we had a lot of good ideas.
Millions of good ideas, the best ideas.
So, hey, Barbed Wire Studios, right?
Yep.
Reach out. I'm Doc Erica. This is Sir Jellybean. Leave a comment. If you guys are seeing this, share it with the devs.
They know about my moans of pathfinding, I'm sure.
Well, I feel like we were pretty constructive though, because we offered suggestions.
I think they know from my early videos that
pathfinding's
been an issue for me. But apart from that, I think the game is still. I wouldn't say no one could say it's a bad game.
Yeah.
It's a great, there's a reason I love the game. It's not, and before people say, "Oh, it's because this is the only thing." I could play Men of War Assault Squad 2. It's still fun.
Yeah.
But Ostfront does it better, and
it tickles that itch.
I actually like supporting Ostfront because I think I won't say it's perfect, but from what it was like when did I start the channel 2 years ago, massively improved. Yeah. But actually, I moaned 2 years ago, but actually, when you think 2 years, but actually, when I think pre-liberation and the massive free updates this year, huge change. Last year has been quite revolutionary, to be fair. I give them that.
So Sir Jellybean, the people want to know, do you recommend the Airborne DLC?
If you've got the money for it, 100%. I think if you like missions, it's actually quite fun. I haven't played all of them yet, just because I've been busy, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's better also play the missions on medium, not hard or hardcore. The balance don't go through well. I would say, though, if you are a teenager and you're short on money, I'd say for Liberation. But if you've got the money, it's a fair price. I'd give it out of 10 as well. It's a solid 7.5 out of 10. I think that's fair for me.
I would agree. I would say if you want to support the game continuing to pump out new content, especially if it's going to be to the level of quality that's in Airborne, then go buy it. It's a couple bucks. I had a friend that he wasn't too sure on it, and I was just like, listen, it's $8 here, I'll send it to you. And he got it, and he was just like, wow, this is really cool. They've really done a great job with the game since the last time I played. So I would recommend it. I'd give it probably a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 because I could see where the effort is, and I'm hoping that they continue putting that into the areas that we want. Final thoughts leaving, I think, that I kind of got from this, Jelly, is devs, we kind of see where you're going. We're still here. We still love it. But we're kind of sitting here asking you to try and openly engage more and be more transparent and forthright with what's going on. And, I really strongly recommend, I'm not saying me, even though I'd hands down love to do it, but or Jellybean, but bring in some content creators, bring in some active community Discord players, bring in a handful of people and have a chat, have a Zoom call or a Q&A or something. Tell the community that you want to hear what we say even if you don't listen, you still want to hear. So that's kind of all I
Yeah,
got.
and if it and like I say, maybe I did hear one thing. Maybe you have to bring out a certain amount of DLCs with the game. Like that might be in the contract. If that's true, just say, look, we had to bring out so many DLCs, so we done this. We don't mind.
Yeah,
Like
tell
I'm not
us.
saying you have to tell us, but if you tell us that, we can say, oh wait a minute, that's why you did this DLC. You couldn't do the big one yet. Or if maybe it's a workload thing or something, be transparent. Because like I say, the only reason I think it's still a good DLC, by the way, like I say, 7.5 out of 10, but I would much rather you said, oh, we can just scrap this one and then we can get Commonwealth out earlier for me. But if there's a reason why maybe you just want to tell the story, that's fine. But like you say, transparency would actually probably shut my mouth up a bit, which would help you.
No, I think it would fix a lot of issues. As an
100%.
NCO in the Army, being transparent made a huge difference with my troops. It didn't change the fact that some things sucked, but they kind of at least understood that it wasn't for whatever reason their mind came up. But Sir Jellybean, what would you like to leave as the last message to the viewers? Do you want them to follow you or to engage? What would you like them to do?
Follow Erica, engage Erica. I'd say my front content's alright, but my biggest thing's history videos at the moment. So just had another 100k pluser on the Alfred
I
Becker.
love
So
your
if
history
you like
videos.
history, thanks. Well, that's kind of where the channel's kind of more heading. Goes keep doing Ostfront, but follow Erica's channel. Lots of cool stuff to come, and also there's a lot of Ostfront community channels out there. I won't shout them all out because literally there's like 30 names, but look at the big channels. But also there's a lot of sub 10,000 subscriber channels that put out a lot of Ostfront stuff. So when you're looking for Ostfront stuff, look for the smaller channels. I would say actually look for the channels that are less than 1,000 because they would normally drop out 2 or 3 videos a week. Lots and lots of good stuff there.
And look for the videos or the channels where content creators are like playing a game together, because that's how like I found like Jellybean through Shermanator.
Yes.
And it like
the legend himself.
it like yeah, hey Carly, their partner is my editor. So Carly, say hi. And but yeah, no guys, like get involved in the community and see what all the content is, and share ideas and start making content if you want. But
yeah, definitely make content. That's
we're gonna go play some Last Stand. So I'll see everybody, and maybe we'll do this again in like another couple months.
Yeah, 100%. Been a pleasure.
Bye.